with a Google Sheets. That's basically the Google equivalent of Microsoft Excel. So you're going to open up your Google Sheets, and the first thing you're going to need to do is make sure that you have the Autocrat add-on. So I'm going to click on Add-on, and I'm going to click Get Add-ons, and it will allow me to add Autocrat by searching for it. I already have Autocrat added, so it's going to show up in my menu here of all my add-ons. So now that I have Autocrat added, I'm going to click on Launch. And we're going to wait while it launches a dialog box type thing. And I'm going to create a new job. And I'm going to name that job and then I'm going to click Next. Then I'm going to choose a template. I already have one created that I want to use. So I'm going to click Use, but this would be a time that you could actually create one or choose a template that you already have created. In your template, you have to create your tags. And your tags are just going to have the double less than, followed by the name of the field that you want to use, and then the double greater than symbols. Very similar to what's used in Microsoft Word, except for that you actually have to type them in. But the cool thing is unlike Microsoft Word, you don't have to make sure that your tags match up. So you're going to choose which sheet you're going to use. Now this sheet that I've got here only has one page, so I keep that tab. And then I'm going to click Map to Column. And for my name field, I'm going to put in, what is your name? That's the question that the student is asked in the form that feeds into this Google spreadsheet. And then your student ID number, your teacher, on and on and on, adding all of the fields that you need. Okay, now I'm going to click Next. And now I'm going to tell it how I want it to name this file. And I'm going to leave the week of, and then I'm going to just leave that space blank. And every time that I run this, I'm going to go into File Settings, and I'm going to add a new date to it. I'm going to choose an output type of Google Docs. You have a choice of Google Docs and PDF. Google Docs works just fine for me. Multiple output mode means that every single line of your Google Sheets creates a whole new file. I want this all to be one file, so I'm going to click Single Output Mode. And then I'm going to make sure that I have page breaks between my data rows. That just gives me individual pages that I can print out and put with the books so that they can be checked out easier. And then I'm going to click Next. I'm going to choose the folder where I want this to be saved, which for me is going to be a folder that I've already created called Contactless Checkout. So I'm just going to click on that folder and I'm going to click Select. And then I'm going to click Next. I'm going to skip this part and and I'm not going to share. And then I'm going to click Next. I want to run this form when I want to run it, so I'm not going to choose it to run on any sort of triggers. So I am done now, and I'm going to click Save. And when I'm ready to run this form, I just open up Autocrat again, and it brings up my existing jobs, and I can click on this Run Job button. It looks kind of like the play button on a recorder, and it'll run it for me. Or I can go into Edit and go in, which I said I was going to do, and go all the way up to step 4 and change and put in a date range, and then click Save, and then run it. When it runs, it will actually, in my Google Drive, create a form, or not a form, a Google Docs that will then print out, and it will fill in all these fields that are on my template. So I have a student name, their ID number, their teacher name, and the books that they want, and those shelf locations. And in my template, I actually put a place where I could check whether that book was actually available or not, so that I can let that student know whether or not the book was even available on the shelf. Maybe someone else checked it out. And when it comes time for me to check these books out to the students, I'll print this Google Doc out and find the books that the students want. If they're not available, I'm not going to check that box. And then I'll check all the books out to the student, attach this form to their bag, put the books in their bag, and place the bag out in the hallway for the students to get later in the day, where they don't have to do any sort of contact with anyone in the school other than their teacher if they are doing face-to-face learning. If you have any questions, give me a call. I will be happy to help you walk you through this. Otherwise, happy Googling.